It's the hope that kills you, isn't it? We'll get back to the standard programming as of next week, but Scotland have just finished their group stage of the 2026 World Cup as of Wednesday, 24th of June 2026. It's the first time that Scotland have been at the World Cup in 28 years, so I thought it's best to do kind of like what I did with the Aston Villa reaction video. I'll just document how the group's been, the positives, the negatives, and whether I think we're going to go beyond to the group stage. Again, there won't be too much editing. There'll be just obviously editing little gaps here and there because I want to keep my reactions as true as possible. But I didn't record last night after the game had finished because I think it's always good to record on a positive note, the reactions afterwards, because you get to see the joy. But it's also the flip side as well. If you've been beat and in the last game we were royally humped, it's best not to record when your emotions are so raw and so high, because you might say things that when you wake up in the light of day that you regret. And I'm not going to talk about like the game as in like the statistics, the players, all this kind of stuff, and like the manager's tactics. I can barely kick a ball. I wouldn't be a good manager. I think it would be a bit hypocritical for me to do that. I'll talk about it as a fan, but not necessarily as someone who goes, this is how I would do it, because yeah, I wouldn't have any luck. I'm going to start about the positives. And the positive was that we got there in the first place. If you had said, even a couple of years ago, that not only would we qualify for the World Cup, but we would do it top of our group, so we didn't need to worry about having to do any runners-up playoff spot matches, I would have thought you were nuts. Last time that we were at a World Cup was 1998. For context, I was 10 going on 11 the last time that we were at a World Cup. So yeah, you can do the math on your own end for that one. So the fact that we got there in the first place, after so long not being on the big stage, I was happy. And I saw the group that we were put in, with Brazil, Morocco and Haiti. First thoughts were, oh crap, it's 1998 again, because Brazil and Morocco. But I also thought, you know what, if we don't win, it's going to be an absolutely amazing atmosphere, because the Tartan Army, the Scotland diehard fans, are going to absolutely revel in this. And that is the big positive that I take away from this. The Tartan Army have done Scotland proud. They were there for their first two games in Boston, and Boston fell in love with the Tartan Army, and rightfully so. The Scotland fans made an absolutely unbelievable party atmosphere for the time that they were there. So much so that once they left, a lot of bars and restaurants had to shut down so that they could give their staff a break. The saying is very true that is on this t-shirt, but you can't see it because it's at the bottom of the t-shirt. No Scotland, no party. And there probably was that kind of devil-may-care attitude about the Scots, because we were all thinking, we're probably not going to get out of the group stage, so let's just enjoy ourselves while we're here and show the world why we're the best fans in the world. And they have done that and more. Win, lose, we've shown that we are a brilliant country with amazing people that live in it. It's one of the things that makes me so proud to be Scottish. The other positive is the win. Scotland started off their group with a 1-0 win over Haiti, and boy, we did not make it easy. Heart pumping, nails bit right down to the quick, but we got the win. A first World Cup win for Scotland in 36 years. I was 2 going on 3. So I'd never seen Scotland win a World Cup game, and then for the majority of my life, I hadn't even seen them at the World Cup. So getting that on the first night was absolutely amazing. The scenes from my family, like when the first goal went in, the boys still now say to me to not scream so loud again in case I scare the cat. And that really brings me to my final point of the positives of this tournament. The memories that I've created with my family. Because this is the first World Cup for my kids to see, who at the time of this recording are only 8 years old. There's a joyful innocence about them when they wonder why we couldn't win the other 2 matches against Morocco and Brazil, when seasons heads like mine know realistically it wasn't going to happen. It was not going to happen. The fact we won the first game, I think, set an unusually high precedent for my kids to think, oh, we're going to do something special here. And it was special. But for me, it's the moments created with my family that have made it more special. Kids got to stay up late for the first time in a very long time. When the Haiti game kicked off for us, it was 2 a.m. our time. The boys and my wife went to bed to get up to watch the Scotland game. I did not genuinely think they were going to get up because I went up and checked on them and they were all sound asleep. But then, once the national anthem kicked in, my wife kind of stirred round, looked at the time, asked the boys if they wanted to get up, and they all got up. So instead of me just sitting on my own, I had all my family around me. And it was just a brilliant time. But as the games went on, of course, they weren't going to last in terms of everybody being up. The first game, we all stayed up until the final whistle, which was 4 a.m. our time. Brilliant night into early morning. Next two games were 11 o'clock at night kickoffs our time. And Kieran didn't last for either of the games. He would get to half time and then he would go to his bed. First time in Morocco, he had a swimming lesson Saturday morning and wanted to be fresh for that. That was fine. But Wednesday, we were already getting beat 2-0 by Brazil at half time, and he just said that he needed to go to his bed. He was tired, and because it was Wednesday night going into Thursday morning and they still had 2 days of school left before their end of term. So he went to his bed at half time. Connor and my wife both stayed up from the Morocco game. They lasted all the way through. But then when we got to the Brazil game, my wife went to bed at half time, same as Kieran. Connor lasted to see the third goal for Brazil, and then he started to nod off. And about the 80th minute, I hadn't heard any words from him, so I knew that he was asleep. So it was just wake him up, get him to his bed. But I stayed up for all the games, through the good points and through the bad points. Because that's what people forget being Scotland fans. There's a lot more of the hope that kills you when it's being a Scotland fan. So what did I think of the Scotland games? Again, I'm not going to go too much into tactics and players and all that kind of stuff. A big factor would be the heat in the Morocco and the Brazil games. Very warm, very humid. Scottish people are not used to that. I mean, I'm recording in my dining room right now. We're having a little heat wave in the UK at the moment. And understandably, people are going, oh my god, I can't cope in this heat. And imagine what it's like over in Miami and Boston playing in that heat and the humidity. We are not a country that is used to warm weather. So when we get the good weather, as much as people enjoy it, it's a pain when you have to actually do your job in it. So I can understand that their energy was totally sapped in the Morocco and the Brazil games. But we didn't do ourselves any favours. At least with the Morocco game with the 1-0 goal, yes, it was a mistake that led to it, but the goal was superb. The 3 goals off Brazil were all from poor Scotland defending or getting caught out in possession. That is the biggest problem. We shot ourselves in the foot with all of the goals. So what does it mean for Scotland in terms of the World Cup? Well, the group stages, they finished third. They couldn't finish bottom of the group because we beat Haiti. But even when Haiti were winning their game against Morocco, before sadly eventually getting beat, they wouldn't have been able to top us anyway because of our superior head-to-head. And the amount of times I had to explain that to my kids because they just didn't understand it, and Alison as well, that was becoming the most grating part of the game. Now there is a chance that we could progress into the knockout stage for the first time in our history, but the 3-0 loss means it's very much out of our hands. Do I think that that's possible? In all honesty, I don't, and I kind of don't want us to progress. Now hear me out on this one. I'm not being a traitor here, alright? But the last 2 games, getting beat 1-0 and 3-0, we don't deserve to go through. We were the masters of our own downfall. And if somehow we got through to the knockout stages, as much as it would be history being made, as doing it for the first time, it would show that something is kind of fundamentally wrong with how they're structuring the World Cup right now. I did prefer previous when it was top 2 teams go through. That's it. It wasn't a case of, right, the best of third place, what's better in goal difference, what's better in points, all this kind of stuff. It's too complicated, it's too confusing, and it's especially for Scotland, not good. Because we were one of the first teams to play and finish our games. But other teams still have to play, and they know what they're up against. And Scotland have to sit and wait until at least Sunday to find out if they're definitely going to be playing a knockout round or not. That's going to be torture for them. I mean, they probably will be training and preparing for if they go through the knockouts, but if it doesn't happen, which is more likely because of the goals conceded, it's going to be even harder for them because they're just stuck waiting around. They are that internet meme of the guy just sitting on the bench waiting. And there are other teams that are going to be in this boat as well. I totally understand that. So I think it's wrong across the board. It won't be good for players' mental health, especially with Scotland getting a drubbing. If they get through to the knockouts and there is another game, I will do a video on it. These are little documented moments in history that I'm never going to see again. But I will still have my regular content on this channel. It's not going to be a devoted football channel. I will still have my regular content. If anybody watched the game last night, let me know what you thought, and if you think we're going to go through it in the knockouts, or if we even deserve to go through it. Thanks for watching, and take care.